I consume a lot of content around different things. So if this is something that I am stealing from someone else, I apologize because I don't mean to. But I thought about this the other day, and it kind of came from a stupid tweet that I was just like, "Oh, do you think your code sucks?" Right? And then people were tweeting back, and they're like, "Oh, it kind of starts off that way," and they're like, "Oh, some idiots were like, no, my code's perfect." Of course, I feel like they were joking, so maybe I shouldn't be too hard on them and call them idiots. But it made me think of when I was being mentored when I first started at my first job as a junior developer. It wasn't exactly this, but it was very similar to this, where my mentor was telling me, like, let it start off messy, clean it up as you go, make it perfect later. And sometimes you don't even get to make it perfect because it's just the name of the game, because you got to move on to the next thing. And that's been playing over and over in my head for like the last 2 days. I don't know why. Like the let it start messy, clean it up as you go, make it perfect later. I realize that you can apply that mentality to like every single thing that you try to do in life, as far as like self-improvement, or not even self-improvement, just anything. You can apply it to coding, you can apply it to business, you can apply it to creating YouTube videos, you can apply it to like getting in shape. The truth is, everything starts off messy, right? You think about like pottery, right? Like when you start off with pottery, it's a big ball of clay. You're mushing it around, you put it on the wheel, and you start to spin it, and you start to mold it. And then ultimately, as you clean it up along the way and you start to mold it and make it better and better, by the end, you got like this beautiful piece of pottery. And I should maybe do like a B-roll of the ghost scene here. Oh. I use pottery as some weird example that just came to me off the top of my head right now, but it really is that simple when you're trying to get started with doing something. Like nobody's ever perfect when they start something. Like I started like lifting weights back when I was a teenager. When you're a teenager and you lift weights, you don't know what the hell you're doing. You're just throwing weight around. You don't have any form. You try to lift more than you're capable of lifting. You try to show off, and you end up luckily not getting hurt because you're a teenager and teenagers don't get hurt. But if you continue to do it as you get older, as you work out more, as you start consuming content on it, maybe you get a couple lessons from a physical trainer, and you keep developing that skill of learning how to lift weights properly, you get better and you're cleaning it up along the way. Even though I've had my up and downs with my weight and I've been on and off working out, now as I'm older, it's a skill that I am starting to perfect, and I know a lot more about it than I did when I was a teenager and I first started out and I was messy and sloppy. And all the years of me cleaning it up, focusing on my form, finding out the exercises that kind of hurt, finding out the exercises that I enjoy doing, trying new things to see if I want to incorporate them into my routines. And then now when I go and I work out, I have like a really good system. Like I know my warm up is going to be like 15 to 20 minutes so that I can get my blood flowing. And sometimes those warm ups are different, but I know that I'm always going to warm up first, and then I'm going to go into whatever body part I'm doing that day. If it's a chest and ab day, I'll get my nice chest routine in and I'll knock out my abs, and I have like a good solid time frame that I want to be in and out on. I don't waste a lot of time, and I really have a good routine going. And I just went into like my workout routine because I'm just coming back from the gym today, but I'm in that perfecting it stage, and it's taken me a really long time to do it. And I can make metaphors and comparisons to like everything else. And usually like when I'm writing code, from that tweet with the your code sucks, or as a developer, do you think your code sucks? And I think about that, and I think about how you just dump code in there, you start commenting blocks out, it gets really messy. You've got things that aren't properly formatted, you got things in places that you're just throwing in there to see if they work, and then you get something working. And now you're like, okay, now let me clean this up. Let me get rid of the comments. Let me format this correctly, although you should be using a formatter, but nonetheless, just for an example, let me make this code look nice. Okay, now I've cleaned it up. Now let me make it perfect. Let me optimize this code. Are there areas where I can be doing something better? Is there a helper function that I can use rather than doing something this way? Can I do it that way in order to make it easier to read, in order to make it faster? Whatever it may be, those are the examples of make it messy, clean it up along the way, perfect later. I love that idea, and I think that that's why I wanted to make this video, because it's been like looping over and over on my head, because I realized just how it applies to everything. And going in and starting off and making things messy, you're setting yourself up to being able to not worry so much about the perfection, because you know that you can make it perfect later. You just get in there and you want to get your hands dirty. You want to start working on the thing that you want to work on. You just want to go. And I think that the biggest issue with not accomplishing a goal is inaction and not actually trying to get started. A lot of the reasons why we don't get started is because we feel that it needs to be perfect. But if you go in with the mindset of like, it's okay to be messy, I'm not going to be good when I start, I'm going to get better as I go, and then eventually if I keep this up, my messiness will clean up, my clean thing will become perfect. Perfect maybe is not the right word to use, but I will say that it's what we aim for, right? Many of us strive for perfection, and the paradox of wanting something to be perfect to the point to where you never start actually working on that thing because you're worried that you'll never be able to get it perfect is what gets a lot of us stuck in procrastination and not doing anything. But being able to say messy comes before perfect, and everything needs to be messy before it ever gets to perfect. You can just clean it up along the way until you are perfect enough, I guess, or close enough to perfect as you can get it, because perfect's bullshit sometimes. And it's something that we kind of set out to prevent us from getting shit done, because if you can't make it perfect, then why bother at all? And then you never do anything, which I just kind of said. But I like the mindset of not being scared to make things messy, because then you're not scared of the mistakes, you're not scared of the failures, you're not scared of the what ifs and what happens when this happens, or what happens if I can't do it, and all those problems that you kind of start getting in that loop when you want to do something new, that you kind of start making up sometimes in your own head, or you might read about and get worried about because you start seeing that certain people experience issues with trying to do a certain thing, and then they talk you out of doing it because of this one particular person's experience, and then you start trying to find excuses, and you start trying to find more negative reinforcement to keep you from doing the thing that you wanted to do. And I think that if you are willing to start off and just say it's going to be messy, if what that person says happens, I don't care, I'm still going to give it a try because I want to see if this is something that I want to do. And then if it does in fact not end up being the thing I want, well, at least I got to experience something new. At least I got to learn something new. At least I set out to try to do something new, and you'll be surprised how much you can clean up along the way. Just talk a little bit about like getting started on something. I'm going to use another like workout analogy, and I want to say that this comes from Arnold Schwarzenegger, but I believe that he has like a quote or a saying or something that's kind of like a motivational thing where if you don't feel like working out, just say that you'll go for like 20 minutes and go do whatever. Go any workout. You don't even have to have it planned. Just go to the gym and jump on the treadmill for 20 minutes. And you'll go, and after that 20 minutes, more than likely, you'll want to keep working out. And I've always felt that some of the best days that I've had at the gym are the days that I didn't want to go and I forced myself to go. And I did it anyways. And I just got started. And I think that that's the big secret of like being able to be okay with things being messy, because it allows you to just get started. And getting started is the biggest battle, because like I said, you'll clean it up along the way and eventually you'll get to perfect, or as perfect as you can, because perfect's bullshit, right? Perfection is very rare. And while it's good to strive for perfection, you shouldn't set your sights too much on it because you might never get it, but it's okay as long as you're working towards the things that you want. You'll be happy with almost perfect most of the time. All right, with all that said, I hope this video was helpful, motivational, and I don't know what else, but if it was, make sure you hit that like button. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.